Let's talk about how to roll a coil. To roll a coil, pinch off a good size amount of clay that can fit comfortably in your hand. Roll it into a sphere first. Then roll the clay up and down your hand a little bit to create a coil. Now look at my clay. It appears to be cracking a little bit, which is my clay's way of telling me that it's thirsty. If you look at your clay and you notice that it's cracking when you bend it or roll it, just add a little bit of water to the clay to soften it back up, and then you might even need to roll the clay around in your hands a bit to mix the water in. Now I'll give it another go. So start with a sphere of clay, roll it up and down your hand. Once you have the beginning of a coil, place it on your clay mat, and then using your hand or both hands, roll the clay up and down the mat, and then check it. If your clay has a lot of really thin spots and very big spots, then you need to make sure you're doing it evenly. If your clay breaks or you need to break it in the middle, just overlap it like I did. Now notice how I'm checking my clay every now and then as I'm rolling the coil to make sure that it's nice and even. You don't have to have one giant coil, but you can. Once you've become a master coil maker, let's try making something with those coils. Try rolling a spiral. You'll notice that I'm going at a pretty slow pace. That way, I don't end up breaking the clay as I'm going along. And you know what? If I do, it's okay. I just roll it up into a ball and try again. Set whatever you make aside and let's keep creating. We're going to need a lot of different coils and a variety of different shapes for next art class. So go ahead, roll those coils, and make sure that when you do, your coils are about as thick as your finger. Finger thickness is great. Now I'm bending it in the middle, and I'm going to roll it with both hands. It can be a little tricky, so you might want to try one hand at a time to create a small heart. Again, I've had a lot of practice making these coils. I know I make it look very easy. For you, whenever anything is the first time trying something, you know that it's going to take practice. You might make something you don't like. No big deal, y'all. You roll it up and you try again. Let's see what other kinds of things we can make. Think about even letters that you can create with your coil. Once again, if it starts to crack, just add a little bit of water. All right, now I'm going to make a little bit of a zigzag, turning it into the letter M. You can also pinch the ends of your coils. It doesn't always have to be rounded to make it more pointed. Use your stick to trim your clay whenever you need to, and I'm going to spell Mom. All of these coils and shapes that I'm making next time are going to go inside of a clay coil heart. You're going to be filling that heart in, so you're going to need a variety of different kinds of spirals, shapes, even words and letters. Whatever you make, just go ahead and set it aside. Try making different kinds of lines and shapes, creating those words, whatever it is that you want to make. The more variety you have, the more interesting your artwork will be. We're going to be placing any of these coil creations that you make on a styrofoam plate, and then we'll be putting that plate inside of a Ziploc bag to keep them nice and safe until next art class. Try to make as many different kinds of coils as you can with different lines and shapes, but keep in mind that each coil should be as thick as your finger. No teeny tiny skinny coils or extra big. All right, today's the big day. Let's begin to put everything together. What we're going to do first is start by making a coil at which we are now currently experts. We're going to make a coil that is going to go around the shape of the heart, but doesn't have to be as long as the heart. So I'm trying to roll a long coil, but if you can't get one quite as long, it's okay. Make sure once again to double check that thickness all the way up and down the coil. Once you've got a nice coil that's the same thickness all the way up and down, now you're going to set it on top of the paper heart, going around the black line, pressing your fingers down as you go. But as you press, make sure that your clay keeps cookie thickness. You're going to need to create an entire heart outline, but you'll want to overlap when connecting one piece to another. Toothbrush to get it to glue. Lay the clay right on top like that and smash it down to get it to stay. You'll want to make sure that you make a complete heart, even if it's made up of a couple of different coils. Again, don't forget to use your toothbrush and overlap one piece of clay to the other to really make sure it's going to stay. The bottom of the heart is pointed, so make sure you create an angle at the bottom of the heart by using your fingers to pinch. Now that you're finished with the outline of the heart, it's time to get all of those little coil shapes that you made before and fill them in on the inside of your heart. So now I'm just going to take and add my extra pieces into my heart. Really make sure they're going to stay. Not only will I need to toothbrush, but I'll also need to smush, smash, and smear the clay. I know that seems strange, especially since we worked so hard on making those coils, but don't worry, your design is still going to turn out. I'll show you why here in a moment, but as you're getting ready to place your coils, you might want to think of your composition, your placement of things. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out where I want all of my coils to go to make sure that it says Mom, to make sure that I have my heart and my spirals all in the right place. I can't let any of the white paper show, so I'm going to need to make sure that I get all of my pieces placed and then fill them in with smaller pieces. Even if that means I have to break apart some of my coils or even create new coils, as long as there's no specks of white paper showing through my heart. So now I'm just using my coil to fill in any tiny little spots that I might see, using my extra clay to smush, smash, and smear away any of those white spots. Even if you create a little bitty dot of clay, that will help you fill it in. Here I am now kind of connecting, joining any of those pieces together. If I don't join them together, then my clay piece will fall apart. Again, I know you can't see my coils anymore, but just wait. You'll be able to see them in a moment, okay? So make sure that you fill in all of those pieces, smush, smashing, and smearing everything in place. Okay, got it. All my spots are pretty much filled in. Now I'm just going to squeeze in one more coil before checking to make sure that I can't see any of the white paper showing. Now I'm just using my finger to smear it down. Here's the moment of reveal. Check it out. I told you we'd still be able to see your coils. Now let's let it dry before it goes in the kiln.